I know it's only been 3 games. I know it's early, but that was the worst loss of the season. The Knicks couldn't make a shot even if they wanted to. The defense, it fell apart to end the third quarter and for that entire fourth quarter. But the Knicks bench, missing Miles McBride, couldn't do anything to help the Knicks win this game. And ultimately, all of this led to the Knicks suffering their first loss of the season. We're going to break down all of these latest reports today. This episode is presented by FanDuel. If you're enjoying the content, please hit that subscribe button and make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss any new content. And now, let's get started. The Knicks lose their first game of the season. The Knicks weren't going to win all 82 games. I understand that, but it's the way we lost that's so frustrating. As you can see here, the Knicks suffered their first loss of the season against the Miami Heat. They lose 107-115. And shout out to James L. Edwards of The Athletic for giving us this information here. As you can see, the 2 main players of the game, the players who could actually hit a shot, were Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges. Brunson gave you 37. More on Brunson later on in the show. And Bridges, he also chipped in by giving you 20 points. But unfortunately, all of this was not enough against the Miami Heat and that defense. And shout out to channel sponsor FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, for giving us these odds for who is going to win that matchup last night between the Knicks and the Miami Heat. And as you can see, based on these odds, the Knicks were favored in this game to beat the Miami Heat. But unfortunately, they could not get the job done. I want to mention this before you guys kill me in the comments. The sky is not falling. I still believe in this team. It's early, but I got to call it like I see it. With that in mind, let's talk about it. The Knicks offense. I have a bunch of bricks in my backyard, courtesy of the Knicks. There was one play in the fourth quarter where Jordan Clarkson misses a point-blank layup. A point-blank layup. If you're missing those shots, there is no way you're winning the game. Once I saw that, I tweeted it out. There is no way the Knicks are going to win this game. And ultimately, they did not win the game. Even though Jalen Brunson did his best to will the Knicks to try to get back into the game late in that fourth quarter, where New York cut the game to 5. But then the Andrew Wiggins dagger. He hits a 3, uncontested 3. They go up again, and after that, the Knicks cannot do anything about it, and they lose this game. But going back to the offense, because if you watched last night's game, the offense stood out to you for all of the wrong reasons. The Knicks, unless your name was Jalen Brunson or Mikal Bridges, or to an extent, OG Anunoby, unless you were one of those players, you could not buy a bucket no matter where you shot from the floor. You're in the mid-range, you're missing it. Point-blank layups, you're missing it. 3-point shots, you're missing it. And the Knicks are not even trying to be that aggressive inside, so they're not going to the free throw line as often as they should be. That means they have less opportunities to get those easy baskets, those easy points. That means each and every possession, it's so much harder for New York. But going back to those 3-point shots, I have no problem with the Knicks putting up as many threes as they can generate. However, with one caveat, the threes that they take have to be good shots, have to be quality shots, or at the very least, they have to be open. Last night, some of the shots were open, but many of the shots, especially in that third quarter and in the fourth quarter, they were very contested, very well defended by Miami. But the Knicks, they would just pass the ball once, and then whoever got it, they shot it, regardless of how well defended they were. And you're not going to get back into a game. You're definitely not going to win a game trying to make shots like that. And take a look at this. Shout out to Knicks Muse on the app X for giving us this following information. Through 3 games, the Knicks have attempted more threes than any team in the NBA. They currently sit at 46.3 attempts per game. That is a huge difference from last season in terms of the amount of threes that New York is shooting. However, I go back to the same thing I was talking about before. Are they quality shots? Are they quality threes? Now, against the Cavs, I can say they were. Against the Celtics, I can say they were. And for the most part, against Miami in that first half, I thought the Knicks did a very good job of generating open three-point shots. The only problem was they could not hit those shots. But in that second half, when the three-pointers were not going down, New York failed to respond in the right way. They failed to attack. They failed to be aggressive. When your shot is not falling, don't continue to shoot the three. Be aggressive. Attack. Go inside. Try to get to the line. Besides Jalen Brunson, I felt like nobody else on the Knicks got that memo because nobody else was doing it. They kept shooting three-point shots and missing those shots. While the offense was bad, conversely, at least for 2.5 quarters, the Knicks defense, in my opinion, was very good. Now, admittedly, their perimeter defense, which for me has been the biggest weakness of this Knicks team over the past 3 games, and it has been exposed over these 3 games against the Cavs, the Celtics, and now the Heat. Over the course of this game, just go back and rewatch it. A number of Heat players had too much space on their threes, or had open threes, or widely uncontested threes. A lot of those shot attempts happened in the late third quarter and in that fourth quarter where the Knicks defense collapsed, or widely uncontested threes. Now, admittedly, a lot of those three-point attempts happened to close out the third quarter and in that fourth quarter. But to start out the game, those first 2.5 quarters, the Knicks defense, it was doing very well. They were trying to make sure the Heat did not get any easy buckets. I thought there were a lot of great individual performances on defense. OG Anunoby already looks like he could win Defensive Player of the Year. He's grabbing balls in midair. He is blocking shots. He's stealing the ball everywhere on the court. He is a menace on defense. OG Anunoby defensively last night was a monster. You also have to give credit to the captain, Jalen Brunson. Yes, Jalen Brunson. He was playing great individual defense. He got a number of steals. He is playing great defensively to start the year. Mikal Bridges, what can I say? In my opinion, on this team, he still is the most complete player on this roster. He's doing a little bit of everything: attacking, rebounding, playmaking, and of course, giving you that great defense. Mikal Bridges continues to impress. And these players are not alone. There were other players playing last night who individually gave you some great defensive moments at times. Even Karl-Anthony Towns, he misses a three-point shot, he runs back on the other end, and he blocks Khalil Ware and his shot. That was great help defense. And then Landry Shamet, he's playing great individual defense. So why did the Knicks lose this game if defensively they were going after it and doing very well for 2.5 quarters? Well, there's your first clue: 2.5 quarters. You need to play defense consistently for 48 minutes. So that's one of the reasons that they lost. I already mentioned the offense. The Knicks could not buy a bucket from anywhere on the court. Only a few players could really score in this game against the Heat. But there was another reason why New York lost this game. It was their bench. For everything that we have been saying about the Knicks and their offseason moves and how good they were, these offseason moves, at least as of right now, have not delivered in the way that the Knicks have been hoping for. Just take a look. Shout out to Knicks Muse on the app X for giving us this following information. Jordan Clarkson, Gershon Yabusele, and Landry Shamet, 10 points, 3 of 21 from the field, 0 of 12 from 3. Jordan Clarkson was a -12. Gershon Yabusele, a -15. And Shamet, a -9. All in the minutes that they were given last night against the Miami Heat. This was one of the worst performances I have seen from the Knicks bench. Now, obviously, they were missing Miles McBride. Normally, he is instant offense. And if he was in the game, maybe he gives you 10 or 12 points off the bench and that helps the Knicks close this gap even further. But unfortunately, he was missing the game due to personal reasons. So the Knicks did not have that spark off the bench like they normally would have. And that really made all the difference. And nobody else could really step up to do anything. Now, Jordan Clarkson, I already knew what type of player he was coming to this Knicks team. He is a streaky shooter. And at times, some nights, he's going to make you frustrated. Other nights, you are going to love him. Last night, it was not going well for him. Yeah, he made a couple of shots, a couple of plays, but really, his offense was very ineffective. But I think over the course of the season, he is going to get right. Just like Jalen Brunson, he needs a few games to get his offense going. But I think during the season, he is going to be fine. Landry Shamet, he played great defense. Even though the offense hasn't been there as of yet, I feel like it's going to come. The main issue for me off the bench right now is Gerson Yabusele, because Yabusele out there looks lost, looks uncomfortable. He's not making any shots. He's not playing any defense, and other players on the opposing team know this, and once he's at the 5, they're attacking him. They're going past him, blowing by him, getting an and one, and then they're going to the free throw line. Or they're getting an easy bucket, and then they're running back to play defense because he's too slow to stay in front of anybody. Now, I understand he came to training camp overweight, 285 pounds, I believe. That is very heavy. And under Mike Brown, they want to run a lot. You're going to have to play fast-paced, not only on offense, but also on defense. A big part of read and react is also playing fast. And if you're not able to do that, you're going to be a liability on the floor. Yabusele, he was a liability on the floor last night against the Heat. And honestly, even over the course of these last 3 games, he really hasn't done much to stand out. Maybe a couple of threes here and there, a couple of effort plays here and there. But other than that, what has Yabusele done? What has he really given the Knicks off the bench that we can sit here and be happy about? Remember in the offseason, he said that Knicks fans would remember him during the season because he would bring that energy off the bench. Anybody see that energy? Anybody see that motivation? Because honestly, when he's out there, he looks like he's lost. He does not know what's going on, and he keeps getting beat on defense. If you're not going to give us anything on offense, nothing on defense, and you're going to look lost out there, you might as well not be out there. And I'm sorry, Mike Brown, you might have to make a play. You might have to make a call here, and certain times during games, if Yabusele doesn't have it, bench him and put somebody else in the game. Somebody else you have with size that might have an impact. Last night, for me, that player who should have received more minutes should have been Ariel Hukporti. Miami is big. They're playing Bam and Ware. That means you need to match size with size. If you're starting with that, then it doesn't matter what the Heat are doing. Make sure you keep that double big lineup out there because you're going to need it given how the Heat are playing you. They are trying to rush you inside, attack the center, and get easy buckets or go to the free throw line. And you're allowing them to do that by not playing a double big lineup or only having one center in the game, either Karl-Anthony Towns or Yabusele. And if Yabusele is playing the 5, there is no defense at the 5. Even with Karl-Anthony Towns at the 5, he may be better than Yabusele, but that's not saying much. Defenders seeing him inside, they're going to attack him too. The double big lineup was not utilized as much as it should have been last night against the Heat. And that was another reason why New York dropped this game. But even though the Knicks lost, and even though it's the first loss of the season, there were a few positives to take out of this game. Specifically, how New York was even in this game in the first place. And the reason for that was because of the captain, Jalen Brunson. I know the rest of the Knicks, the rest of the team could really not buy a shot from anywhere on the court. But Jalen Brunson, he understood the assignment and he was attacking the Heat in every way he could. Shooting threes, yep. Getting to the free throw line, yep. But most importantly, he was driving inside, attacking inside, manipulating the defense, getting anything that he wanted to, and he ended the night with 37 points. I understand we lost the game, But Brunson doing that and the way he did it, it has to give you some hope looking at Jalen Brunson moving forward this season. Because if he continues to play this way and the Knicks hit their open shots, they could be a monster this season. And I think everybody understands that. Shout out to Knicks Muse on the app X for giving us this following information. Jalen Brunson, 37 points, 54% from the field, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals. Because yes, Jalen Brunson, this version of Jalen Brunson, he plays defense. And not only in this game, he has been playing defense in the preseason and to start the regular season. If you don't know, now you know. Jalen Brunson defensively has taken a step up this season, and it absolutely shows. If you haven't seen it, that's because you're not watching the captain close enough. His defense has leveled up, and I definitely appreciate that. Again, he had 4 steals. He hit 5 threes and was a +6 on the night. Jalen Brunson, if he was not playing, this would have been a blowout victory for Miami. Thankfully, Brunson was playing, and he was able to help the Knicks stay in this game. I have to help everybody remember this. It was a tie game in that third quarter with 4 minutes to go before Jalen Brunson went to the bench. Then Brunson goes to the bench, and everything goes out of whack. The Knicks forget how to play defense. Miami takes advantage of this. They're running inside, getting to the free throw line, a number of threes uncontested. And then they close that quarter up already. And then in that fourth quarter, they go up 18 points because New York doesn't play any defense. They are ball watching. That means I am watching you set for your shot, get ready for your shot, and shoot your shot. I mentioned it a number of times on this channel, but for anybody new watching, I'll mention it again. My biggest pet peeve in the entire NBA, especially on defense, when you're a player and instead of running over to who you're supposed to defend or a player who has an open 3 to try to close them out, you watch him. You don't move. You watch him set for his shot, take his shot, and either make that shot or get the rebound and try again, all in one motion without doing anything. Karl-Anthony Towns, Gerson Yabusele, even one of the best defenders on the team in Mikal Bridges at times, in that fourth quarter, did the exact same thing. Ball watched. They played great defense for 2.5 quarters, but when you're not making shots, you continue to miss shots. And the defense, while it's good, it's still not preventing the Heat from scoring and getting easy baskets on you. It's always going to wane. It is going to drop. And once that drop-off happened, New York lost the game entirely. Now, you might be wondering why that happened. You know why? When you miss all of your shots, you play great defense for 2.5 quarters, and then it still doesn't matter because the Heat still find a way to get easy buckets and are still scoring on you. Eventually, that defense, it's going to wane, and then it's going to break. In that fourth quarter, it broke completely. No matter what Jalen Brunson wanted to do, no matter what New York wanted to do to close out that fourth quarter, trying to create that magical run, it is not going to work if you're only giving offense and no defense. They gave a lot of offense, but they continue to allow the Heat to shoot open, uncontested threes. And when you do that, you're not getting back into the game. You're just losing it faster. Another player we should talk about here is Karl-Anthony Towns. Last night, he had 15 points, 6 of 14 from the field, 2 of 8 from 3, 18 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 5 fouls. This is the perfect example for me of when people watch the box score and then think to themselves, well, Karl-Anthony Towns wasn't that bad. How did the Knicks lose this game? That's because you didn't watch the game. Karl-Anthony Towns, this game, fell in love with the 3. And they only started to fall for him in that fourth quarter late when the game was already out of reach. I don't know what happened to Karl-Anthony Towns during this game, but at points, he looked very uncomfortable, not part of the offense, and just forcing up shots, forcing up threes. You're not going to be efficient or even make threes if you're trying to force them up. I'm not sure what was going on with Towns, but why did you fall in love with the three so much? Why didn't you fake and drive more? Or why weren't you driving more and trying to get to the line? If you're not making shots, and at that point he wasn't, why wouldn't you drive more? It really doesn't make sense unless that quad injury started to flare up and you really couldn't move that much. So all you could do was shoot a couple of threes. Again, I'm not too sure what happened, but Karl-Anthony Towns falling in love with the three cannot happen during this season. It can't, because if you do that, then you're taking away a huge part of his game, his inside game, his driving game, going to the line. Towns does that. And if you're not doing that, it's basically taking away half of his game, playing with 50% of Karl-Anthony Towns. Why would you do that? Why would you limit yourself in that way? It didn't make any sense to me. Taking a look at the minutes breakdown here, as you can see, the starters played a lot of minutes, more minutes than they played before in the last two games. OG Anunoby at 37 minutes. He was 4 for 13 from the field, 4 of 12 from three-point range. He didn't have a great offensive game. However, defensively, he brought it. And I know this game would have been a blowout if OG Anunoby had not been playing. Looking at his rebounds, he had 6 rebounds, 1 assist, and he had 14 points. Then we have Karl-Anthony Towns. He played 36 minutes. Ariel Hukporti, he only played 10 minutes. That right there is the biggest glaring issue. You play a double big lineup against a big lineup, but you only play your other big 10 minutes? Hukporti has size. He can roll very well. He can block shots. He can get rebounds. Why wouldn't you have him in the game? It doesn't make sense. 10 minutes? I really don't criticize Mike Brown, or at least I haven't in these last couple of games. But this one right here was a bit of a head scratcher. I did not understand why Ariel Hukporti was not in the game more, especially after seeing what we saw out of Gerson Yabusele. You saw that and still elected to play Ariel Hukporti only 10 minutes? That doesn't make sense, especially when the Knicks were struggling to defend anything. But let's continue here. Mikal Bridges, he played 37 minutes. He was 7 of 11 from the field, 3 of 5 from three-point range, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and he had 20 points. 20 points on 11 shots. So efficient. Mikal Bridges, once again, apart from OG Anunoby defensively, apart from Jalen Brunson overall, Mikal Bridges continues to be the most complete player on this team. Jalen Brunson also played 35 minutes. Then you have Yabusele. He played 16 minutes, 6 more than Hukporti. Clarkson played 15 minutes. Josh Hart played 29 minutes off the bench. His rebounding still good. He's still playmaking, but unfortunately, his shot still broken. Does not look good. Now, he blames it on tired legs, but I think it has more to do with that splint on his finger. Landry Shamet, he played 16 minutes. Good defense, but nothing else. Tyler Kolek, only 10 minutes, but he was widely ineffective. Could not do anything defensively or offensively. Really only hit 1 3, but couldn't do much else. Like we already spoke about, the Knicks bench, it absolutely struggled against the Heat. But there were some other factors that led to New York losing as badly as they did against the Miami Heat. Number 1, transition points. They let Miami run up and down that floor with almost little resistance. And then the other part was the amount of fouls. New York continued to foul and put Miami at the free throw line. Free points for a team that did not need it. Let's take a look at the team stats. Like we always do, there are a number of team stats on the screen here, but I'm only going to review a few. The few I believe led to the Knicks ultimately losing this game. And number 1 is the field goal percentage. New York is shooting 38.8% from the field. That's not three-point percentage, which gets worse. That's from the field. From 3, New York is shooting 27.8%. It's horrific. These are terrible numbers. They had 16 turnovers, and they won the rebounding battle by 2. Offensively, they really took care of the boards, beating the Heat 16-9. But Miami, the reason they won, field goal percentage, 45.8. 3-point percentage. It was low, but still better than the Knicks at 35.1%. Now look at that free throw percentage and the attempts. Miami attempts 31. They make 26 for a percentage of 83.9. The Knicks attempt 21. They make 16 with a percentage of 76.2. That's a 10-point difference just at the free throw line. But it gets worse. Take a look at the fast break points. You want to know why the Knicks lost this game? One of the main reasons? It was fast break opportunities. New York, 10 fast break points. The Miami Heat, 31 fast break points. They ran against the Knicks, they pushed the pace, and they shot it well. And that was something I wanted to see. If you didn't know this, headed into last night's game, the Miami Heat were one of the best offensive teams in the NBA. Not only that, they were one of the fastest teams in the NBA. That means a fast team going up against the Knicks, a team that wants to play fast in principle. So I wanted to see how New York was going to do against a team like this, a team that was really just like them or how they wanted to be. And the results were eye-opening. When you play fast against the Knicks, potentially New York will do well for maybe the first few quarters. But then, as their offense begins to wane, or shots are not going in, or you defend them well, their defense, it will also start to suffer. And once that happens, that creates an opportunity for the other team. And once they see that opportunity and they know it's an advantage, they can't unsee it and they will continue to attack. And that's what they did to New York last night. New York had no response. Once their defense collapsed, even though they tried to get back into the game, it was too late at that point. Offense being good even late will never help you win if your defense is sluggish or not there. And New York could not defend anything in that fourth quarter, which was really unfortunate because their defense throughout the first 2.5 quarters was very good. I thought they matched the Heat's defense incredibly well. It was defense versus defense for those first 2.5 quarters. But we have to keep it 100% real here. When it comes to New York, there are some weaknesses, some concerns that we need to talk about. New York's three-point defense, it's weak. It needs to get better. New York's bench, it's a little bit weak. It needs to get better. And I think in time, it will because it's early and it's only 3 games. The Knicks bench last night was a problem, and we cannot have that happen again. Maybe Miles McBride is part of the equation, but he's not the only player on that bench. We have other players on that bench that need to contribute. Players that we brought in here during the offseason that we thought were going to do something, that were going to help us off the bench. Jordan Clarkson, Gerson Yabusele, who really, up to this point, haven't really fulfilled those roles yet. Now, maybe they will over time, but as of right now, that is not the case. And the last thing New York has to work on, even though I thought they were doing a very good job of it before the game against Miami, is taking quality shots, quality three-point attempts, and even more than that, moving the ball until you get that shot. Don't force up a three-point shot just because you need the offense. Don't do that. Find the open shooter like you were doing against the Celtics or the Cavs, because that's going to give you the best shot and likely help you convert that into points. Taking contested shots, taking shots where you're off balance, shots where you don't have a good look, that's not what you need to do. That's not helping anything. You're hurting yourself and the Knicks in the process. I know when the Knicks watch film today, Mike Brown, he is going to have it on repeat. What the Knicks allowed the Heat to do from 3, what they allowed the Heat to do in transition, the amount of fouls New York caused to put them at the line, all of these things will absolutely be reviewed. But like I said to start the show, was it their worst loss of the season? Yes. Can we be mad about this loss? Yes. It's not a crime. That's perfectly fine. However, the sky is not falling. It's still early, And I believe this Knicks team will figure out all of their issues and get better and better and better each and every game. And once we're fully healthy, we'll be one of the best teams in the NBA. Mark my words on that. Right now, they're still learning. And as you learn, there's something called growing pains. Last night, we saw the biggest one of all when the Knicks took on the Miami Heat and they dropped that game. But I don't care that the Knicks lost one game. They got that loss out of the way. Now we can focus on winning games and more games and more games. The next opportunity for the Knicks to win a game is going to be tomorrow night when they take on the Milwaukee Bucks. And that game is going to be must-see. Not only because it's going to be Giannis facing off against the team that he actively wanted to join in the summer, but Milwaukee, specifically Giannis, has been a monster to start off this season. So to see him playing already in MVP form, that's going to be a true test for this Knicks team. But what about you guys? What do you think about New York's first loss of the season against the Miami Heat last night, dropping this game 107 to 115? Let me know how you feel about that in the comment section below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans, take care of yourself, your families, and each other. Peace and love.